Okay, calm down.
Especially because you just brought up the how would I call it? What do you, the racial element of some of these attacks?
Oh yeah.
So this is a huge fan of this guy. I'm just kidding. Bakari Sellers, who's a literal AIPAC shill. I mean, there are photos of him with Sheldon Adelson, and I want to show him reacting to Trump's win, especially because I see this as kind of the respectable, polite version of all these blue MAGA people and blue Anon, as Aaron Mate calls them, blue Anon people, who were tweeting, like fantasizing about Mexicans being deported, Latinos being deported, which was also so stupid because they, without realizing it, were revealing how racist they are. They see all Latinos as this monolith. Like they don't understand that some people are documented, some people aren't documented. It's almost like they were leaning into the racist, xenophobic lie that Trump was pushing, that non-citizens, that illegals, as they were calling them, that illegals were voting, right? Because that was the premise of their, I hope you get deported now. And then of course they were celebrating what Trump was going to do to Palestine, right? I mean, it was such a masks off moment. Now, someone like Bakari Sellers can't say that. But here's, I think, to me, this looks like the polite version of that. Let's take a look at Bakari Sellers and also see Karen Finney's face when he says that.
Precincts in Dearborn, Michigan, that Kamala Harris finished third. I think Democrats are going to have this reckoning, and I'm interested to see how a part of our coalition, Arab American voters, those individuals who were pro-Palestinian, are going to analyze this race and what Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the impact that's going to have in the war on Gaza. Because I just go back to Jared Kushner saying that Gaza would be good beachfront property, right? And I'm interested to see how individuals who either set out or chose Jill Stein to punish the Democratic Party are going to reconcile that with what happens.
Sorry, note her face because I'm going to get back to her later.
Okay. And I'm interested to see how individuals who either set out or chose Jill Stein to punish the Democratic Party are going to reconcile that with what happens with Bibi Netanyahu. I, for one, believe we're going to have more chaos.
More chaos? That's an interesting way to describe genocide, first of all. And yeah.
May I? I'll just,
yeah, of course, yeah.
At an event, a campaign event, you know, in New Jersey, probably maybe 80% Muslims at this particular campaign event, I said, Jews don't vote for Nazis. Muslims aren't going to vote for Democrats. What kind of insane white supremacist delusion do you have to be laboring under to think that you can mercilessly slaughter a population for 13 months and then shame them when they do not affirmatively choose you as their representative leadership? And the depth of the Blue Anon moral bankruptcy was revealed then with all of these people saying, I hope you get deported. Wait till they turn Gaza into a parking lot. And these revenge TikToks, like, I can't wait to go back to Starbucks now. I didn't want to do this. I'm going to read one of my own posts. Liberal America's gleeful revenge TikToks about unboycotting Starbucks are every bit as perverse as any IDF selfie. American liberals take a backseat to no one when it comes to reveling in white supremacy with naked joy. We have been the world's teachers in this since the 18th century, before the Zionist entity was even a racist pipe dream. Enjoy your unethically sourced union-busting beverages. It always tasted like ash. Apparently, the secret ingredient is charred corpses. So this is what the naked underbelly of the Democratic Party is. And this is what Malcolm, Joe, our first conversation, you had a paraphrase of Malcolm before I joined the campaign, and that I followed through on. Malcolm said, the liberal is a fox. It bares its teeth and you think it's smiling at you, but you are on the menu. The conservative is the wolf. It bares its teeth and you know its intent. What Gaza has done, what this last electoral cycle has done, it has revealed the naked white supremacy that lies at the root of teams blue and red alike. And this is why they love fixating on Trump, because holier than thou liberals get to point like Tony Montana in Scarface and say, look, there's the bad guy. That guy's the bad guy. The racism is over there. And are not forced to confront the absolutely murderous white supremacist and imperialist policies that they have been fostering and nurturing and cultivating since Bill Clinton.
I don't have much to add to that, except to say when I see these disgusting talking heads, you know, there's nothing that draws me in, you know, and I'm reminded that, you know, that there are many polls that keep coming out to say that the majority of the American people understand that mainstream media is their enemy, and that people understand that mainstream media is purposefully misleading them, and people regard what mainstream media says as a pack of lies. And I don't really follow mainstream media or even the critique of it, because, you know, to my mind, that's not really how we build the fight back. You know, it's not about debunking media. That comes in handy every now and then, but really it's like it's building the force. But, you know, my understanding is that the MSNBCs are really crashing and burning now. And, you know, that they've had massive loss of, you know, viewership and all that, which they absolutely should. And this is, you know, this is like part of it, you know, and to my mind, it's like, well, of course, who wouldn't turn that off? You know, who wouldn't kind of go running with your hair on fire after listening to that kind of self-serving, you know, really economic elite serving analysis. So truth to tell, I don't even spend time thinking about it. I just really sort of feel sorry for people who are in that orbit and who are like addicted, you know, to that kind of, you know, manufactured consent for some reason, and they keep listening to it because people mostly seem to be breaking up with it now. And I think that's great. And I personally do not feel obliged or motivated to debunk it at all.
Yeah, I will just say that Karen Finney, the woman who was like, when he said that, she's so good at weaponizing anti-racism for racist ends. Like I always remember Bernie Sanders during, you know, back in 2020, I think it was, he was the only one on the debate stage who said that he was, or it's a town hall, I think, he was the only one who said he was against the death penalty, even for the Boston bomber. Like one of those stupid emotional questions where you bring up a bad example and that's supposed to violate your principles. And Karen Finney, I remember her response to that was that opposing the death penalty was racist because James Byrd, he was a black man who was dragged to death following a pickup truck. It was disgusting. But because he was killed by white racists, the death penalty is anti-racist. I mean, so you had this person defending one of the most racist mechanisms in our country, which happens to be about literal life and death. You had her in the name of anti-racism defending it. Anyway, that's just a little rant I have about that particular person. I'll end the show asking you about moving forward and what's next. But what critiques do you have? Any regrets? Like, is there anything that you guys could have done, should have been aware of, that could have resulted in a better turnout for the Greens?